It's Shawn here for Streaming Media Producer at NAB 2023. I'm here with Ryan from Magewell, and we've been talking today about the USB Fusion. So this is a video capture device.
Yeah, so a lot of people know Magewell for USB capture. That was the core of the market that Magewell honed in over the past couple years, well, really decade. And now we've expanded that with USB Fusion. So at its heart and core, it's a USB switcher with multiple inputs and multiple outputs. It features two HDMI inputs, a USB input, and then from the output side, we have an HDMI out, as well as a driverless webcam connection to a computer, to the host device. It can sit on the network. It can also connect to the network via Wi-Fi. It can also serve as its own access point. And so at its base function, you can switch through the various different inputs and output to something like Teams or Zoom or WebEx, whatever you want to use. But also,
you got these buttons here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So physical buttons on the front, and those are programmable. So you can set those to certain inputs, however you want. So then the other thing is, say you want to enhance it to vMix or to OBS or to Wirecast. Well, that's all possible now. So now we can create really powerful presentations. When paired with an Android or an iOS tablet, now we can customize everything. So it's not just about inputting video sources. When we're creating dynamic, really great content, we know we want to pull in things like PDFs. We possibly want to be able to control PowerPoint. And now we've recently announced wireless screen share feature. So the cool thing is that if you're running a production and the person has their presentation on their smartphone, with USB Fusion in your production workflow, you can now share a code with them. They pull it up and just screen share over iOS or Miracast or Google Cast, and now they can present their content wirelessly into your production system. Yeah.
Do they need to be on the same network as you, or they can be on their own?
Well, that's the cool thing. So because this can serve as its own access point, now you can get them off of your production network, connected to Fusion. And since Fusion's plugged into the production PC or HDMI out, they're kind of segregated from your network, right? We don't want them on the production system network anyway, and now you don't have to do that.
Okay. In terms of the computer controls, I mean, you've got the hardware, but you're saying you can connect via Ethernet or USB to a computer, and that has its own GUI, right?
Yeah, it does. So we have our own web interface, just like all Magewell IP connected devices. This can be connected to Magewell Cloud, which is a centralized management dashboard where you can take remote control devices from anywhere in the world. But in its main core, the dashboard allows you to see things like incoming frame rate and resolution. So if we notice, like, for example, this Microsoft Surface is coming in at 59.86, well, a lot of switchers, that would just like geek the thing out, right? Like, not going to connect to it. But we've built in scalers across this whole thing. So it doesn't matter what the input is, because as an end user, you just want to connect an HDMI cable and go. And we get that. And so that's why we've built those features in. So how this can be used in a live streaming workflow would be that this sits back at the production desk area. This sits up at the podium, and now a person can control their own presentation. As you mentioned before, one of the big features is Telestration on this. And so, as you'll see on the screen behind here, this is instantaneous telestration to get points across. When you're in an environment that may have LED walls on both sides or even projector screens on both sides, well, how do you engage with everyone at the same time without having to turn your back to them and use a laser pointer? But if it's an LED screen, it'll never show up anyway, right? So now I can walk across the platform or podium, I can take notes, and it now goes out on both screens simultaneously, but I'm able to engage with you better. If I'm a teacher walking around a room, now I also have a digital whiteboard, easy to use iPad format, very simple. The other really great thing is that if I have a PowerPoint on a computer, all I have to do is click this up. I can trigger the PowerPoint to start. Now I can navigate a native PowerPoint through a tablet. I have access to all of my notes. If I need to go black screen real quick, I can do that. And then I can disable the PowerPoint. We're using this as a wireless clicker as well. So, you know, again, if the presenter has a screen just behind them, and you're having to constantly turn around to see what you're on, but you're running PowerPoint, now I have all of that right here. And I can telestrate right over top of the PowerPoint, just like I can for anything else. So it's very simple to be able to do this. The other cool thing is it serves as a confidence monitor. A lot of times in most contracts, you're required to give them a confidence monitor view. Well, this is a wireless confidence monitor. Because they're controlling their own presentation, they know exactly what is on the screen and where. And that's just another use case for this. I love it as a producer of live content because I can take control of the presentation and I can do all of the switching for the various scenes right here through this web GUI. And so let's just say, for example, they have a presentation up on the screen and they're not queued to the next slide. For whatever reason, they haven't triggered that. Well, I can trigger it on my own, right from my desktop, right through the web GUI, and I can still make the talent look like an amazing, talented individual to use this.
Yeah, and it's important, right? Because a lot of times presenters need that extra bit of support, right? Otherwise, what value add are we doing as producers, right? If we can't help them out and advance their slides for them without having to run up to their tablet or their computer and hit next or something.
Right. Or worst case scenario, when they say the dreaded word like next slide, please, or next slide, right? And so we're able to do that, give them control, or we'll take control for them. But it isn't just about presentations. We can input images, preloaded video files. So I'll just trigger a video that's been preloaded on the device itself. It features 128 gig SSD embedded inside. And so we can preload content. I see that in real time. I can also telestrate directly over live video. And so now, again, as this is going through the motion, I'm able to do things like that. Let's just say there's a website that I want to preview. Well, I've loaded a website inside of Fusion, and I'm now able to not only telestrate directly over top of it, but I can also fully navigate this website. If I want to pull up a list of YouTube videos, if I want to play corporate content from a website, Fusion is doing this internally, and again, I can telestrate directly over top of it. Never before has there been anything that has this much power to create a presentation at this level.
Yeah. All right, let's talk price, availability.
So it's available now. It's shipping, and for pricing, as I am just the product guy,
we'll put it on the screen.
Yeah, we'll throw the price up on the screen.
Excellent.
But I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how inexpensive this is for everything that this does.
All right, fantastic. Thanks a lot, Brian.
Thanks so much.
All right, this has been Shawn Lamb for Streaming Media Producer at NAB 2023, here with Magewell.